Welcome to the Mr. Question AI podcast. Today, we're diving into a world where your taxi doesn't have a driver,
Oh, wow.
not even one learning the ropes.
Right.
Imagine just hopping in and telling the car where to go.
Okay.
We're talking fully autonomous vehicles and the company at the forefront of this revolution, Waymo.
What's fascinating is that Waymo isn't just dreaming this future, they're building it. This Google spin-off is aiming to make self-driving cars a reality, and they're already giving over 100,000 paid rides per week.
That's a huge number.
That's a lot of rides.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it shows that they're not just playing around in a lab.
Right.
This is real-world stuff. But what really sets Waymo apart is their technology. Their sixth-generation system is light years ahead. It's got fewer sensors than before, but can see even further and can handle anything Mother Nature throws at it: rain, snow, you name it.
That's right. And it's not just about seeing further. This system is built on a foundation of 20 million miles driven on real roads and a mind-boggling 20 billion miles in simulation.
Wow, that's an incredible amount of data.
Yeah. That's more experience than any human driver could ever accumulate.
And it's clearly paying off because Waymo boasts significantly lower crash rates compared to human drivers.
It suggests that self-driving technology has the potential to drastically reduce traffic accidents, saving lives, and revolutionizing road safety. This isn't just about convenience, it's about making our roads safer for everyone.
Okay, so we've got this amazing technology that's already out there doing its thing. But how does it actually work? What makes Waymo's system so special?
One key factor is their multi-sensor approach. Unlike some competitors who rely primarily on cameras, Waymo combines cameras with LiDAR and radar.
You know, you've probably heard those terms thrown around. But what do they actually do? I have to admit, I'm not entirely clear on the difference. It sounds pretty technical.
It is, but it's also pretty fascinating. LiDAR uses lasers to measure distances and create a 3D map of the environment. Radar does something similar, but uses radio waves instead of lasers. And by combining these technologies with cameras, Waymo's cars get a much clearer and more comprehensive picture of the world around them, even in challenging conditions.
So it's like having three sets of eyes, each with its own strengths, working together to create this detailed understanding of the environment.
Exactly. And this redundancy is crucial for safety. In situations where cameras might struggle, like in fog or heavy rain, LiDAR and radar can still provide vital information, ensuring the car can navigate safely.
That makes a lot of sense. So we've established that Waymo has this incredibly advanced and safe technology. Now for the million-dollar question, can you invest in this driverless revolution?
Well, right now there's no Waymo IPO, but there are still ways to get in on the action.
All right, spill beans. How can our listeners become part of the Waymo story?
The most straightforward way is to invest in Alphabet stock. Since Alphabet owns a significant chunk of Waymo, you're indirectly investing in their success. And Alphabet has a diverse portfolio and a strong market position, which makes this a relatively safe bet.
That's good for those who prefer a more traditional approach. But what about those who are feeling a little more adventurous? Are there any options for them?
There are platforms like Hive that allow accredited investors to buy pre-IPO shares of Waymo. These platforms give you access to exclusive investment opportunities, but come with higher risk. It's crucial to do your due diligence and understand the potential downsides before diving in.
So there are options for both the cautious investor and the risk taker. But regardless of how you choose to invest, it's clear that Waymo is a company to watch closely. Their technology is truly groundbreaking, and their vision for the future of transportation is incredibly compelling.
Absolutely. And it's not just about the technology. Waymo is also thinking carefully about the broader implications of self-driving cars, working to integrate them into our cities in a way that benefits everyone.
That's a perfect segue to the next part of our deep dive. Let's move on to explore the regulatory and societal impacts of this driverless revolution.
This potential for increased safety and efficiency is truly remarkable. But the real question is, how will this technology reshape our lives, beyond just the way we commute?
You're right. It's not just about the tech itself, but how it fits into the bigger picture. And one of the biggest pieces of that puzzle is regulation. Governments are trying to figure out how to handle this driverless revolution. And it's a bit of a tightrope walk.
Precisely. Too much regulation could stifle innovation and slow down progress, but too little could put public safety at risk. Finding the right balance is crucial, and we're already seeing this tension play out in different parts of the world.
California is a great example. They've been pretty progressive, allowing companies like Waymo to test and operate their self-driving fleets on public roads. But even there, you have pushback from local authorities, the mayor of Los Angeles, for example. Has voiced concerns about the potential downsides of widespread autonomous vehicles.
It highlights a key point. This technology doesn't exist in a vacuum. It interacts with existing infrastructure, social norms, and economic realities. And those factors can vary significantly from city to city, even within the same state. What works for a sprawling metropolis might not be suitable for a smaller, more rural community.
That makes sense. It's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole
Huh.
if you don't consider the specific context. So it's not just about creating the technology, but also about figuring out how to integrate it into different environments effectively.
Exactly. And it's not just about geography either. There are broader societal concerns that need to be addressed. One of the biggest ones is the potential for job displacement.
Oh, yeah, that's a huge question.
Millions of people make a living driving trucks, taxis, and buses. As autonomous vehicles become more prevalent, what happens to those jobs?
It's easy to get excited about the shiny new technology, but we can't ignore the potential impact on people's livelihoods. What are the experts saying about this?
There's a lot of discussion about retraining programs and new employment opportunities. Some argue that automation will create new jobs in other sectors, while others are more pessimistic. It's a complex issue with no easy answers, and it's something that policymakers need to address proactively.
It feels like we're on the verge of a massive shift, and we need to make sure that everyone benefits from this transition, not just the tech companies.
I agree. And it's not just about jobs. There are ethical dilemmas to consider as well. How do we program these vehicles to make split-second decisions in situations where there's no easy answer?
Like that classic thought experiment.
Right.
The self-driving car that has to choose between swerving to avoid hitting a group of pedestrians, but risking the passenger's safety, or staying on course and potentially harming others.
Exactly. These are weighty questions that force us to confront our values, our priorities, and our understanding of morality in a world where machines are increasingly making life or death decisions.
It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it. We're essentially teaching machines to make moral judgments. That's a huge responsibility.
It is, and it's a responsibility that we need to take seriously. We can't just assume that technology will solve these ethical dilemmas for us. We need to have open and honest conversations about the implications of artificial intelligence and how we want to shape its development.
And those conversations need to involve everyone,
Right.
not just the engineers and tech companies, but also ethicists, policymakers, and the public at large. We all have a stake in this future.
Absolutely. The future of transportation isn't just about technology. It's about the kind of society we want to create. It's about ensuring that these advancements benefit everyone, not just a select few.
It's about using technology to enhance our lives, not diminish our humanity.
Well said. But let's not forget that there's a lot of potential for good here. It's not all doom and gloom.
You're right. I got so caught up in the big questions that I almost forgot about the potential benefits.
Imagine a world where commutes become productive time, where traffic congestion eases, and where accidents caused by human error become a rarity. These are the kinds of possibilities that self-driving technology offers.
And for people with disabilities, the elderly, and those who don't have access to personal vehicles, this could be truly life-changing. They could experience a newfound freedom of movement and independence.
And then there are the environmental benefits. A fleet of electric self-driving cars could drastically reduce our reliance on fossil fuels and contribute to a cleaner, healthier planet.
Wow, you put it that way. It's pretty inspiring.
It is, but this vision won't materialize overnight. It requires a concerted effort from all stakeholders. Tech companies, policymakers, researchers, and the public alike. We need to work together to make this future a reality.
So what are the next steps? What needs to happen to make this driverless revolution a success?
Well, one of the most important things is ongoing research and development. We need to continue to refine the technology, improve its safety and reliability, and make it more accessible to everyone.
And we need to address the regulatory challenges.
Right.
Create a framework that fosters innovation, while also ensuring public safety and addressing concerns about job displacement and ethical implications.
Exactly. It's about finding that delicate balance between progress and responsibility. And it's about engaging in open and honest dialogue with all stakeholders to shape a future that benefits everyone.
And ultimately, it's about having faith in human ingenuity and our ability to harness technology for good. It's about believing that we can create a future where transportation is safer, more efficient, more accessible, and more sustainable.
That's a future worth striving for.
It certainly is. And as we move into the final part of our deep dive, we'll explore some of the potential scenarios for this driverless future and leave you with some thought-provoking questions to ponder. We've talked about the hurdles and the big picture, but um, what does a future with Waymo actually look like? Will these self-driving cars just be zipping around like something out of a sci-fi movie? Or is there more to it?
It's fascinating to consider how Waymo envisions these vehicles fitting into our cities. It's not just about replacing taxis or personal cars, it's about rethinking how transportation functions within our communities. They seem to understand that cities are more than just grids on a map.
So they're not just dropping these cars into the mix and hoping for the best.
Not at all. Waymo is actively collaborating with urban planners and transportation experts, asking, how can self-driving cars make life better, not just different? They're looking at how this technology can improve accessibility, reduce congestion, and maybe even free up space for parks or green spaces by eliminating the need for massive parking lots.
That's a really interesting point. We often focus on the technology itself, but it's the integration into our existing systems that will determine its true impact. It's about creating a symbiotic relationship between technology and urban design.
Exactly. And this thoughtful approach extends to the design of the vehicles themselves. They've put a lot of effort into making the interiors comfortable and accessible,
Uh,
thinking about things like adjustable lighting and temperature controls
Sure.
to personalize the experience.
it makes sense. You're essentially asking people to trust their safety and comfort to a machine. If the ride feels impersonal or jarring, that trust erodes quickly.
Right. They're trying to make the experience feel familiar and intuitive, not cold and robotic. But even with a well-designed vehicle, trust is built on more than just comfort. Waymo seems to understand that.
So how are they tackling the trust issue?
Transparency is a key part of their strategy. They're committed to open communication, sharing data about their testing and safety protocols. They're not just saying, trust us, our cars are safe. They're saying, here's the data, here's the research, here's how we're working to ensure safety.
It's like they're saying, come along for the ride, and we'll show you how it all works. That level of openness is pretty refreshing, especially in the tech world where secrecy is often the norm.
I agree. And this commitment to transparency extends to their engagement with regulatory agencies and safety organizations. They're actively working to establish industry standards and best practices, which shows a willingness to be part of a collaborative effort.
It's not just about Waymo succeeding, it's about the whole concept of autonomous vehicles succeeding.
Precisely. They're playing the long game, recognizing that the success of this driverless revolution depends on a collective commitment to safety and building public confidence.
It's been a fascinating journey exploring the world of Waymo, from their groundbreaking technology to the broader implications for our society.
They're truly pushing the boundaries of what's possible, forcing us to rethink our assumptions about transportation and inviting us to imagine a future where technology enhances our lives in profound ways.
And while that future is still unfolding, one thing is clear. Waymo is a company to watch, a catalyst for change.
And for our listeners, keep in mind that the future isn't something that just happens to us. We're all active participants in shaping it.
So stay curious, embrace the possibilities, and be a part of building the future of transportation. Who knows? Maybe one day soon, you'll find yourself hopping into a Waymo and enjoying the ride as it navigates the world autonomously.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Waymo. Until next time.